time! We finally have official confirmation in some meaningful way that PlayStation 5 is absolutely legitimate. Not only that, but it is rocking some pretty interesting specs, and this is confirmed by Lisa Su of all people from AMD. Sony are talking, Lisa Su's talking, Shinobi's talking, all of these insiders are talking, and man, can I tell you, it feels good to finally get some really official, concrete stuff about this thing. Let's get into it. So we'll go to Shinobi's page, a well-known insider here, and this is really a ton of activity here today about this, and I'll link this all down below. So first and foremost, I'm scrolling down here, Microsoft eyeing E3, hashtag PlayStation 5. Okay, let's go. Also, Lisa Su, the CEO, the actual CEO of AMD, super excited to expand our partnership with that Sony on their next generation at PlayStation console, powered by a custom chip with at AMD Ryzen 2 and at Radeon Navi. Now, this is official stuff, guys. Not only that, but Mark Cerny's talking about some stuff here recently. I mean, all this stuff is kind of coming out. And it gets even more interesting as we scroll down to Shinobi's next post. And after seeing this, I now know that they've shown some kind of tech demo with PS5. They've shown something. If this information's out here, there are developers that are actually talking about this. Hashtag PlayStation 5 information. CPU, 8-core AMD Ryzen based on 7nm Zen 2. We know that because Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, literally just confirmed this. Very, very interesting. GPU, Radeon Navi based. That's AMD's next generation GPU technology. They'll have these two things in their next generation APU. Here's something I like to rub into some people's faces. Has ray tracing. I was one of the first guys in the world, and this isn't even a first, to call this in the console. I explained it logically why this is going to happen. I even showed it on screen, and you can bet everything that you have that Microsoft are doing the same thing here. They are supporting ray tracing. As a matter of fact, they have the leading API on PC for ray tracing with NVIDIA and soon AMD. A lot of you guys said this was impossible, that a console couldn't do it. They don't have RTX cores. That's all marketing. Consoles, custom chips, and more. I mean, they can do all kinds of stuff. Moving on, supports 8K resolution. Yes, with this kind of power, absolutely possible. Now, don't be fooled when they say support 8K resolution. They're mainly talking about HDMI playback. It will have the latest HDMI standard, which will support 8K, 30 Hz, etc. But I wouldn't put it past Sony to have some kind of indie developer or somebody have a game up and running at 8K 30 FPS or something like that. A lesser demanding title. Wouldn't surprise me at all. It will not be your Metro Exoduses of the world. Make no mistake. 8K resolution absolutely gonna be a thing, at least in the streaming aspect, and of course I do believe they'll try to get some less demanding titles up and running at 8K resolution. More of a bragging right than anything. Next we have backwards compatible, PS4 at least. In parentheses, we have talked about this as well. There's a reason I've been saying this for years, that PS4 will have backwards compatibility. It's all based on x86 architecture, easily done on behalf of Sony's engineers. No problem here. And not only that, they need backwards compatibility. It's more important than ever, seeing as customers have now invested potentially thousands of dollars in their PS4 libraries, right? And this extends to the next Xbox, which you're hearing amazing things about as well. If you did not have backwards compatibility, the ability to carry those thousands of dollars for the game forward, that's a massive blow to your own console. That's another incentive for a customer to consider another platform, and you don't want that. You want them investing in that platform, keeping their investments, moving those investments forward. If, for instance, with the next Xbox, I lost all of my Xbox One games, and they're like, hey, it doesn't work, then I'd be like, what the hell? I guess I have no real incentive to keep building up my library. Same thing applies here. Supports physical media. He basically confirms that it does have a disk drive. Hopefully this one has at least a 4K disk drive. And here's what's very, very, very important and very interesting. Has an SSD. Example of Spiderman fast travel. The load was reduced from 15 seconds to 0.8 seconds. Consider this, people. That's absolutely massive, and yes, it is possible. Now, I was told behind the scenes some time ago that the next Xbox does have an SSD. The cold boot on the Xbox goes from about 45 seconds all the way down to 3 seconds, meaning if you unplugged it from the wall, plugged it back in, hit the power button, The total startup time is now 3 seconds with an SSD, and that's down from 45 seconds on the cold boot. That is insanely impressive, guys. SSDs are ridiculously quick. They're going to leverage this as a serious selling point, and we as gamers are going to benefit with this super fast storage. If you guys recall, Microsoft were hiring mechanical engineers, electrical engineers to engineer the next generation of storage for their next console. Did a video on that. Sony are no different. They know that 5400 RPM hard drives are extremely slow. That's what the consoles are rocking now, and it's time to move on. Personally, I think a 7200 RPM hard drive will be a massive upgrade, but apparently these console makers are wanting to take it up a notch, and that's, hey, I'm not going to complain. Question is, and I like your response in the comments, do you think this is a high-end PlayStation? Do you think this is a low-end PlayStation? Do you think there's more than one PlayStation? We're hearing all kinds of rumors and reports, but ultimately, it looks like Sony are going to do the multi-SKU PlayStation 5 thing, just like Microsoft are doing the low-end Xbox and the high-end Xbox. Looks like Sony could be doing this as well. And if they're talking about 8K resolution, if they're talking about ray tracing, if they're talking about an SSD, this doesn't seem like a low-end model to me. A low-end model, in my mind, does not have an SSD, is probably not powerful enough to really support ray tracing. But hey, they could figure all this stuff out and surprise us all. This stuff is official from official sources like Lisa Su from AMD. This stuff also lines up with almost exactly what I said would happen. There is a reason that I talk about some of these things that I talk about. You might read a title and assume something, but if you don't listen, you don't know. Ray tracing was a big one. A lot of people didn't understand. They don't understand how that works. They go off of, oh, it's so demanding on PC. Don't worry about that. This isn't PC. These consoles could have chips just for ray tracing. We just don't know. And regardless, RTX, all of this stuff has been a marketing gimmick. NVIDIA are bringing ray tracing back to the 10 series of cards. You don't even need RT cores. Of course, I'm sure it's more efficient, but a lot of these guys, a lot of these PC gamers saying that we're crazy for saying ray tracing is coming, be sure and show them this video. Once again, they are wrong. We are right. It's the reoccurring theme, especially about console hardware. And it's not like I just make this stuff up. You think they would learn, oh, this guy's really on the shit, he really knows the stuff. Hey, pay attention. So I'd like to know your thoughts down below. PlayStation 5, it's a thing, it's real, it's the real deal. Speaking of real deal, look forward to Real Deal Xbox podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. There we will be discussing this and so much more. Ton of great topics tonight, guys. I got to thank everybody who showed up to this video. You guys are fantastic. Hit that like button. I'll link all the sources down below. As usual, we got more links for you down there as well. Thank you so much. Share this with a buddy or two. I'm Dealer. I'm out.